What's up, you guys? BATJAC J.W. coming to you. I've got another revolver here that we've already looked at. We've already did a review with it. It's the Rock Island Armory M206 38 Special Snub Nose 38 with a 6-shot capacity, which that was what was attractive to it for me, other than the price point at $244, free shipping from Bud's Guns. It's got the wood grips checkering. You pull the cylinder release latch to open up the cylinder there, kind of like the Colt. In fact, that's what it is. It's supposed to be a clone or copy of the Colt Detective Special. That is kind of, as you saw in my first review, we opened up the side plate, looked at the internals. It's kind of not really like a Colt, but kind of like one. Not so much like a Smith & Wesson, but kind of its own design, kind of going off its own little features there. The firing pin is mounted on the frame with a transfer bar, not on the hammer. So I'm going to go over this time what to expect out of this revolver and how does it compare to a higher end snubby revolver, a 6-shot. In this case, we're going to be looking at it and comparing it to a Smith & Wesson. Bear in mind throughout this review, we're not going to be trashing this gun. We're just going to be looking at it and comparing it. Keep in mind, this is a $200 firearm. You know, basically, you know, $244 is what I paid for it. I'm not sure if that price still remains, but you know, keep in mind that is what I paid for. So that's for not everybody that is a revolver fanatic. You know, some people are just starting out getting revolvers. Please do not judge this revolver as how all revolvers are. This is a really cheap gun, you know, for $240, you know, basically in the gun world, that's pretty cheap. As we all know, most of our snubbies can range anywhere from the $500 range all the way up to the $1,000 range, depends on what you're getting. So the vintage look on this gun is what drew me through it. Basically, I definitely like the wood grips again, you know, the black finish, more like a parkerizing finish, and it was 6 shots. Fixed rear sight, blade ramp sight on the front there, and does have the shroud over the ejection rod. So let's take a look at how we can compare it to a Smith & Wesson. Here I got a Smith & Wesson Model 10. This is it's kind of an older model. It's a 5-screw, but this is a 6-shot revolver. As far as the comparison goes, let's take a look at both of these a little bit further back here. And you know, out of the M206, yes, it does have a little bit more play in the cylinder right away when you see it. You can almost wobble it back and forth. Doesn't seem to affect too much on the firing process on it, but I do need to take this back out to the range and do some more firing before I can actually make a judgment on that myself. It's not as tightly locked up as a Smith & Wesson. You know, there is still movement you can see even in the Smith & Wesson, being this is an older gun. So this one, you know, you can see the firing pin is mounted on the hammer. This is an older Smith. You can tell already even by the diamonds in the grip there, and the 5-screw model. It's got the screw there. As far as the heft, you know, the Smith & Wesson definitely has got more heft to it. The Rock Island Armory, though, is no slouch. It does have some weight to it. The double action pull indexes pretty nicely and brakes about as clean as you can get for $244. Single action mode, not too bad. You know, it's a little heavy, but you know, it's to be expected from a revolver that is you know, priced at the way this one is. The ejection rod here, this little piece will unscrew, and that's how you actually, when you take the crane off and everything, that's how you would slide the crane off of this to get to the actual cylinder. So that does unscrew. I try to keep it pretty snug on there because I don't want losing that. You see a lot of these old school movies, a lot of the old Colt double action revolvers, because that's the way they go. They're missing the turn knob. The finish is definitely nothing to write home about. It is more or less kind of a black charcoal finish. Almost looks like you took a can of spray paint and spray painted the gun with it. Over having it some time, it has evened out or flushed out a little bit. I don't know how you put it, just by handling it a lot. The finish is pretty durable. It's not like it's not it's not like you can scrape it off with your fingernail or something like that, you know. So don't let it mislead you a little bit by that. You do have this beveling they put on the front of the muzzle there, which I know some of the custom guns actually do that. Cost more money, so that's kind of cool that you get that right out of the box here. The cylinder does turn clockwise, like a Colt should, versus the Smith & Wessons go counterclockwise. So yeah, you're not getting, you know, I mean, you're looking at a Smith & Wesson comparing to this. There is no real comparison. You know, if I only had to choose one, I'd definitely take the Smith & Wesson without a doubt. But this is a pretty good revolver for $244. It's nothing to be it's nothing special, but yet for me, you know, I like these classic snubbies, and this was definitely something I wanted to pick up for sure. You know, it's got a little cross pin through the barrel. The forcing cones seem to be pretty good and sturdy, not too thin. For those of you that don't know, that's what that is, the forcing cone. It wasn't too thin. You know, thin ones can be, you know, can cause stress cracks over time and things like that, so it wouldn't be too good. Side plate does come off on the left side versus the right side on the Smith & Wesson, so it comes off on this side. Be aware that if you do decide to take your side plate off, be careful on this particular one. There will be tiny little pieces that might fall out, and if you're not careful, you don't know where they go back in together, so you might find yourself a little stuck there. And the back strap does kind of protrude a little bit beyond the wood grips, if you can see that there. So again, you know, just it is a $244 gun, you know, so for what it is, you know, I can't complain at all. I'm actually really satisfied with this gun. For the price that I paid for it, I've got no real complaints. Just wanted to give you another look at it and compare it to a Smith & Wesson, you know, and just kind of look at both of these guns side to side, you know. The Smith & Wesson has a little bit of a different shroud here. Not really a shroud, but it has a different lockup for the ejector rod versus the Rock Island Armory has a complete shroud, like the second generation Detective Special does. So, which protects it, you know, from getting bumped or dinged or whatnot. So, and you know, it locks up as tight as it can, you know, for the price point. Just, you know, keep in mind with this gun, you know, what you're paying for it and what you're getting. You know, you get what you pay for. I'm not at all dissatisfied with it. I'm not saying that, you know, this is a terrible gun or anything, but for the money, it's a pretty decent gun to have. So I'll maybe have to get it out again and go shoot it some more before I actually make a video on the shooting portion of it for the channel, just to see how we do it and how it goes. Really just want to get more of a feel. My first impressions of it shooting, it does pack a wallop. It did have quite a recoil. So anyway, just wanted to show it to you again, bring it out, kind of go over a couple of features, just kind of an overlook on it and comparing it to the Smith & Wesson. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, there's really no comparison, and there isn't, but just wanted to show it to you. Just, you know, remember the price points between both guns. You know, this one costs near double what this one does. So anyway, I'm BATJAC J.W. signing off for now. That just wanted to give you another look at this gun. It is a pretty nice gun. I like the classic look on it. A lot of people take off the wood grips, but part of the reason I bought it was for the wood grips. I like those. You know, it's really nice. So anyway, I'll be doing some more updates with it and checking it out again on the channel, so keep in touch or subscribe and like the video if you do, and we'll catch you next time.